Howdy, howdy, folks. Once again, this is Donnie coming at you with another in the series of systemd tutorials. And in this video, I'd like to take a look at keeping time. And first, well, why is keeping time important when it comes to computers? Well, first, we need to ensure that timestamps on files and directories are correct. And we also need to have the time synchronized across all of our different client machines and our servers to make sure that time-critical functions such as Kerberos authentication run correctly. And actually, there are a whole lot more functions than that are time-critical that need to have time set correctly. Now, keeping time, it's not something that you might have to think much about anymore, because most Linux distros now, when you install them, they either allow you to set the proper time zone during the installation, or the operating system installer will automatically detect the proper time zone for you and will automatically set your Linux installation to that time zone. But some Linux distros don't offer that option. For them, you'll need to set the time zone manually after you've performed the installation. For example, Ubuntu Server and some of the Linux distros for the Internet of Things don't offer that option. So to set the time zone on them, it used to be that you would have to hand edit a configuration file, but you don't have to do that anymore. Part of systemd is the timedatectl command. That makes things a lot easier for you. And then once the time zone has been set, either by the operating system installer or manually with the timedatectl command, you can normally depend upon the network time protocol service to keep the time on your computer properly synchronized. Normally what's going to happen is that the network time protocol service will automatically synchronize your computer clocks with timekeeping servers on the internet. So, now that we have that out of the way, let's go ahead and look at how easy it is to set your time zone with timedatectl. Okay, to demonstrate, I am logged into an Ubuntu Server 18.04 virtual machine that's running on a computer that's on the other end of the house. And first, let's go ahead and take a look at the timedatectl man page. And all these options up here at the top, we're not going to worry about them, but we're going to come down here and look at these different subcommands, the ones without the dashes in front of them. And you see that we can look at the status, although we really don't need that subcommand, because if you just enter timedatectl by itself, it shows you the status. We can also set the time manually if we really have to. Most of the time anymore, you're not going to have to do that, because most of the time now, your network time protocol synchronization is going to be active automatically as soon as you install the operating system. So it will automatically go out to a timekeeping server on the internet, and it will synchronize your machine with that timekeeping server. But what we're really interested in right now is setting the time zone and finding out what time zones we have available and what the names are, so that we can use that time zone parameter with the set time zone command. And here you see we have set local RTC. RTC is real time clock. And we do have the option, if we want to set our real time clock, which is the hardware clock that's built in as part of your computer itself. We have the option to set that to the local time instead of to the universal coordinated time, the UTC. I've never understand why the initials are UTC, but it's universal coordinated time, but whatever. Whatever the case, the UTC is the time that's in the time zone of Greenwich, England, which somehow became the timekeeping capital of the world. I'm not sure how they came about. I don't know the history. But anyway, what we really want to do is keep this set to UTC. We don't really want to keep the real-time clock set to local time. We're going to keep that to RTC. And also we have the option of turning on and off the network time protocol synchronization. It is on by default, and you really want to keep it on. And that's pretty much it for that. So let's go ahead here and see how all this looks. We can just do timedatectl like that, or we could put the timedatectl status. Either way, you're going to get this display. So you see what the local time is up here, and you see what the universal time is, and the real clock time. And you can see we have everything set to UTC up here. So it's all the same. And that's just the way that it happened when I installed the Ubuntu server, because it gave me no option to set the time zone during the installation. And we also see that the system clock is synchronized, and we see that the timekeeping or the time synchronization service is active. So now let's go ahead here and let's do timedatectl list time zones like so, and look at all the time zones we have. And we don't have to pipe this into less because that's already done for us automatically. And I am in America, so let's see what we got here for America. And I'm on the east coast of America. And right down there, we have America, New York. I am not in New York. I am actually in southeast Georgia on the very east coast of the United States. But since there are no cities here listed in Georgia, I guess we'll just have to go with New York. So let's go ahead here. And, to cheat, I'm going to copy this like so. And I'll hit Q to get out of that. And now to set the time zone, I'll have to have sudo privileges. So it's timedatectl set time zone. And let me go ahead and paste this in like so. And now let's see our status. And there you go. Eastern Daylight Savings Time, just like it should be, 12:50 p.m. And that's all there is to it. And now, folks, it's time for a word from my sponsor, which is me and my book, Mastering Linux Security and Hardening. Let me tell you, folks, if you're interested in getting ahead with your IT career, you want to learn something about security, and this book is a very fun way to help you do it. I don't do boring when I write, okay? I don't like boring books. You shouldn't either. This is definitely not boring. It's a good book. Lots of good security tools in here are covered. Tools that you may have never heard of, but you definitely want to hear about. So check it out. The purchase links will be in the video description below. So anyway, that's all I got for now. If you like the video, be sure to like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.